Today we are going to learn how to make an adorable crochet doll of a boy. Let's call him Little Jack. Little Jack is quite easy to follow, but I would recommend to advanced beginner and intermediate crocheters who have some experience with single crochet and working in rounds. We use American crochet terms and abbreviations in this pattern. For the yarns, we are using cotton blend yarn with about 14 wraps per inch and a 2.5mm crochet hook. Okay, we're interpreting the WPI numbers. Remember that the bigger the number, the thinner the yarn. And this is how we get the numbers. You just wrap the yarn along an inch around the ruler and then count the number of the wraps. Okay, let's get started. I'm using a cream color yarn for the skin. Feel free to switch the color as you wish. And a 2.5mm crochet hook and a stitch marker. For round 1, we will crochet 6 single crochet in the magic loop. There are different ways to make a magic loop. Some people use a single loop. I prefer a double because it's more secure, and this is how I do it. After the last essay, remove the hook and start adjusting the loops. Usually I start by pulling the tail a little bit and then determine which is the live loop, and then continue to adjust both to close up the magic loop. You don't have to tighten the magic loop too tightly yet. When working in rounds, we don't have to join the circle with a slip stitch. We just start the new round on the last stitch of the previous round. Place a stitch marker at the beginning of your round. Now we continue with round 2, where you increase a round by making 2 essay in each stitch. You should have 12 stitches in total for this round. Now we can tighten the magic loop and cut the yarn. Remove the stitch marker at the end of each round and put it back on the first stitch at the beginning of the round. For round 3, make 1 essay in the first stitch and increase on the next. Repeat 5 more times and you should have 18 stitches for this round. For round 4, make 1 essay in the first and second stitch and increase on the next. Repeat 5 more times and you should have 24 stitches for this round. For round 5, make 1 essay in the next 3 stitches and increase on the next. Repeat 5 more times and you should have 30 stitches for this round. For round 6, make 1 essay in the next 4 stitches and increase on the next. Repeat 5 more times and you should have 36 stitches for this round. Continue to increase the rounds from round 7 to round 10 by adding 1 essay in the front before the increased stitch. For example, 5 essay increase for round 7, 6 essay increase for round 8, so on and so forth. You should have a total of 60 stitches at the end of round 10. Let me quickly show you the right side and the wrong side. We stop increasing from round 11 and only make one SE in each stitch for each round until round 20. You should have 60 stitches for each round. Now we start shaping the head by decreasing in each round. For round 21, make 8 SE in each stitch. Decrease by making one SE over the next 2 stitches. Repeat 5 more times and you should have 54 stitches for this round. Continue to decrease the rounds from round 22 to round 26 by subtracting 1 SE in the front before the decrease stitch. For example, for round 22, make 7 SE and decrease. For round 23, make 6 SE and decrease, so on and so forth. The last decrease round ends with 3 SE and decrease. You should have a total of 24 stitches at the end of round 26. Once you finish round 26, we will install the craft eyes. I prefer to install the eyes when the head is almost done for a better gauge. You can install the eyes before decreasing at round 21 so that the opening is wider, so it's up to you. For easy reference, I usually make a mark for where I want to install the eyes. I recommend 15th rounds from the top and 9th stitch from the first eye. I use a tool to widen the gap between the stitches so that it's easier to install the eye. Now you can insert the first eye in the first marking. And then do the same for the second one. And now we we install the safety bags by pushing the flat side towards the fabric. Trimming the shaft is optional, but I usually do it because I find that it's easier to staff the head without the shaft sticking out. Do make sure that the eye is still tightly secured. And finally, for the last round, just make one SC in each stitch and you should have 24 stitches for this round. When you're done with the round, trim the end and fasten off. And now we start stuffing. Now we embroider the smile. You can choose one of the two styles. usually use head pins to mark the position on the fabric to wrap the yarn around and see how it looks like before I start stitching. For example, an O shape to look surprised and an inverted U to look grumpy and upset. Or other expressions. It's up to you, and you can use the same method to test the design. Once you're happy with the look, leave the pins on as a guide. This is how we create an anchoring point. And this is the second style, which created a rounded smile. And you can see how I tied a knot after the last stitch and hide everything under the head. that's it. The head is completed. I'll see you on the next video.